Yeah, our first principle is to use a tool to help schedule meetings. Don't go back and forth on your email with an external partner. This is part of my role here is coordinating and scheduling meeting times. And I think anyone who's ever scheduled a meeting with more than two people knows it can be very difficult, especially in our busy world, to actually find a time that works for all of the parties. There are modern tools out there that are designed specifically to help us do that.
What's your favorite tool?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, well, one that we use here at Bulb Digital is called Calendly. And we did recently do a video on this, and we had a few people comment that Microsoft Bookings has really upped their game and is much more on par with Calendly. So I'll be checking that out soon, likely, because we do pay a price to actually use Calendly.
If I remember correctly, they're rebranding it as virtual appointments from Bookings. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this. And I think that lends to the use case better that I've seen over the years, where it's think about like a hair salon. I am a hairdresser, and I want people to be able to come in and book a service with me, a 1-hour haircut or something like that. That is the core functionality of that tool. Where it typically falls short, and that we've seen is that you can't do collective bookings where it's like, okay, we're going to record a podcast. Let's look at a calendar where we can pick a time that works for all 4 people, pretending we were like external or something. And so that collective functionality was really important with the tool that we chose. And then I think they mentioned a couple other things like Find Time and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, there's really like back to this is why this is all it triangulates itself. Like security is another aspect of it, right? So Calendly requires you to be able to give someone access to see your calendar, right? Some organizations won't allow that. They're like, nope, we're not going to do that. Guess what? There's still options. Find Time or polling, which is really what it's called now.
Schedule polling,
allows you to say, here's some options that work for me. Do they work for you? And it just manages the whole, yes, this works for me. No, this doesn't work for me. I prefer this. I don't prefer that. Like that's what
it'll
this does.
block out your time so that you can kind of hold it until I pick one.
Is it ideal? No.
Yeah.
But
I don't like that.
Better,
I don't like blocks on my calendar.
It's better than sending an email back and forth.
Anything is better than sending an email back and forth. And to the one thing you said about Calendly, people don't actually have access to see what's on your calendar. They just see when you're booked and those sort of things. I'm sure there's a couple of people going, I would never use that then if someone's going to totally see my calendar.
Sign me.
But that's what you meant.
And like we've had customers, large enterprise customers, who for compliance reasons say, we cannot allow that. We're not going to allow people to even have that as an option, right? But I would even say to that, like I call, you're wrong. Like for salespeople, that's what they're doing anyways. They're going to be doing the same thing anyways. They're going to take a screenshot of their calendar and be like, hey, look at like. So even if it's just for a small segment of your workforce, it can make the world of difference in regards to making it easier to collaborate.
So obviously I use this all the time at our business and in our industry because I'm trying to coordinate time with 3 or 4 team members on our side with maybe 1 or 2 external members or team on their side. Another business I could think that could really benefit from this is anyone in the interior design business or construction business where you have multiple team members internally that need to meet with an architect or a painter or a kitchen redesigner or, any of those things. And I'm sure we could come up with a million other industry examples, but just think of whenever you're trying to get a few people on your team and you're coordinating their calendars like you're talking about, this collective tool. It's just something that Outlook can't do for you. And it's worth investing in figuring out these tools so that you're not emailing back and forth or even picking up the phone to call to try to find a time.
I wish we had an actual metric of how much time it saved us to just, even as simple as like,
hours.
A new lead that I was talking to the other day, I became available and I could have a meeting sooner. And so I was literally like, hey, if you want to meet sooner, go grab a time. And it was all of a sudden it shows up on my calendar and it was really like almost no interaction from me besides here's a link. And we showed up in the meeting together.
It's starting that relationship on a great foot because it didn't start on a painful, oh my gosh, they're never available, or oh my goodness, you want to remove as much of that friction as you can at the beginning of a relationship, because it really has that runway then to allow you to work together well.
A personal anecdote was actually when I applied here.
Yeah.
And Mitch sent me times for an interview, and I said, like, I picked the coffee option in person, and then Mitch ended up getting COVID.
Oh,
so
that's
instead
right.
of emailing back and forth for like new interview times, he was like, oh, just re-pick a time on my Calendly, and it took 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's
The
set the
best.
Teams meeting, and you're all
I was set.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I want to call about it is that there are people who don't like this, like viscerally do not like this, and I can understand why, and I think there are reasons to not use it. The reason is because there's two scenarios that really happen. One is if I use Calendly and you use Calendly, which one wins, right? If we're both wanting to use it, like what goes on? We've had it with bookings where a customer uses bookings and we're using Calendly, and it like there's this tension about which is going to the second piece, which is you are asking someone else to do the work.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You are sending out and saying, I want you to find time on my calendar, right?
Right.
Which can feel weird. I will tell you that for me personally, I don't have any problem with it. But if you are working with someone either that you don't know completely, and this is a major endeavor that you're embarking on, and you are going to this person, and the positioning is very much like you are asking them for something, maybe it's appropriate to say, hey, I'm going to work with your, someone who's going to manage your time, because in that case, maybe they've got someone who's a project manager or something, and we're going to sort it out, right? And get on a call and sort it out, right? I think there are scenarios that it can make sense, but I think those are small and getting smaller, because for everybody involved, this experience, Livy, to your point, is so much better than anything else.
So much easier.
Yep.